Hey guys, here's the gear for today. All of it pretty much is new except for the blade. I believe I've used it once before. The other gear here has been, I talked about it on a recent video that I just recorded and may come out before this shave comes out. And so we're looking at Fine Accoutrements, and this is their new croap that they came out with in late 2020 when the factory that made their harder pucks, the classic pucks, when it had to shut down. And so this is what's they're going with moving forward. They're calling it the 21st century in this kind of anachronistic looking font that I don't care for very much. But this will be my first time trying the new formula, and some of the soap scents that were available in the hard classic pucks apparently are not going to make it to this soap base, and so that's a tragedy for the ones that if they happen to have one of the ones that you enjoy that's going to leave. This is a Thader brush that I recently got in. I forgot about it during the mail call video that I just made. I haven't tried this guy yet, but this knot is one that I have. It's the normal Thader 2-band knot, and it is one that I have tried in another razor, and I'm curious if this is going to provide any notable differences. I think this one is a little bit bigger in terms of diameter, so that could give a different effect. The razor we'll use is the titanium handled stainless steel with a matte finish top cap, bronze from Timeless, and this is the 78 gap because it is the open comb, and I'm very curious how this guy is going to work. I thoroughly enjoy the first bronze that I was able to purchase, the 38 gap, and it's the solid bar. It's not super smooth, but it's rather smooth, and it's got you do get a little tiny bit of blade feel with it, and it cuts my hairs wonderfully. I get a nice shave. I think it's nice middle of the road between aggression and comfort, and maybe with a slight lean away from middle toward comfort, and so it sits nicely in a happy place for me. And is this guy going to be way too aggressive for me? Maybe. The Timeless 68 stainless steel is a wonderfully smooth razor for me with just a tiny bit of blade feel. But that same base plate, if you buy the open comb version, it's way too aggressive for me. Go figure. So it'd be interesting to see if this guy maintains that or is slightly different. So let us, in this particular case, the Silver Blues have the wax paper interior wrapper as well as the outer. Got raining outside. You guys hear that at the window? And these components are compatible if you modify a little bit. If you add a little nylon washer that you may see right there. The bronze head it's not thick enough. The stainless steel head must be thicker, or the hole in the handle of the stainless steel are deeper. One or both of those must be true, because you have to have this washer or it won't tighten down. And so, again, this is the matte stainless steel, and it does seem to have the same angle as the bronze is expecting. So it is compatible in that sense. And I put on normally you see these nylon washers when you don't want the handle coming in and marking up the base plate. Some guys are really analytical, really anal about that. And there we go. It's ready with the GSB, and that blade often does me very well. And it does look like a positive blade exposure, so we'll see how everything goes. I have 2 days of growth on my face, and so that's another reason why I chose this razor, because if it indeed has a good bit of aggression to it, at least that first pass is going to be taken off pretty easily and without incident. And we'll see how it goes with the rest of the passes. I'm curious what exactly I'm going to do for the fine soap. I think because it's so soft. I think I'm going to scoop it for this first time. This scent is an inspiration, a dupe of Knize 10, Knize, and then the number 10. Is that Knize? I mean, often when the K is in the beginning, then it's silent, like not and knock. So maybe it's Knize 10 or Knize 10. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce it. It's an existing fragrance, and judging by this Latigo scent here, which is that dupe, diesel, leather, and talc, and I'm kind of getting a little bit of all those, and I really enjoy it. And so I am going to take my 1/4 teaspoon. I'm curious with the new croap. This 1/4 teaspoon, yep, it's a little bit more than a 1/4 teaspoon, and that amount in a lot of soaps is plenty to get a 4-pass shave, 4-pass lather. Will this be like maybe Holy Cow, where you need more product, like Chiseled Face, the new Silk Tallow formula, where I'm gonna, it's so soft that I need a lot more product than I usually would? We will see. That's why I decided to scoop instead of loading with the brush right on the soap, because this offers a very good objective comparison. All of a sudden, if this thing causes me to need to use a lot more product, that tells us something about the economy and the nature of this soap. All right, I've kind of wiped away all the soap that I can. Is it tobacco? This kind of smells a little bit like Tabac. Is it tobacco and diesel? I'm sorry, I can't remember. I can't remember what it's supposed to be. I like it. It definitely smells like kind of like Tabac. All right. So there, it's a very soft, like I said. Shouldn't have a problem integrating into the lather here. Let me get my face wet. All right, I'm going to work this up with the brush. The Thader silver tips that I have, I think are too, as I shake most of the water out of the brush here, are have a little bit too much give to them, a little bit too floppy. I may end up liking the two bands like this one, keeping them around. We'll just have to see. My other one that I have is nice, but I kind of am thinking that the tips could use to be a little bit softer. It is a premium, quality brush, and so the fact that it may not be matching me is not a reflection of poor quality, but just that it was designed with maybe somebody different in mind. It's got a good bit, when dry, of backbone, but that often is reduced whenever you get the good lather going. And yeah, we can see how it's opening up. This is the 3 size. 4125, I believe, -3 is this one. Now that we've worked that for a second, let's add a teaspoon of water to it. We'll just have to see how much water this croap can take. I'm sure it's going to perform reasonably well. Is it going to be as nice as the classic pucks, the hard pucks that it's had to replace? Yeah, we'll see. It's a tall order. So it's got 2.5 teaspoons of water in the lather now. Don't know when I'll stop. That's the way I always work it. Just go until it's right. Nice big splay here. That's encouraging. This is a larger diameter, like I said, than my other one. It's that Alpha Bully Boy. I think it was a 26 millimeter. This might be a 28. And that Bully Boy just has such a heavy handle that if I like this knot, I may sell the Bully Boy, because it's basically the same knot. And that heavy handle, that handle of the Bully Boy is that one inspired by the 400, what's it called? Not Ever Ready. It's looking pretty good so far. Having trouble remember the name of that kind of vintage handle. That's kind of aluminum, and it's got the ferrule, and then it's got a saddle, and then it's got spines or ridges, 6 ridges. I'm sure you shaving aficionados know what I'm talking about. So the lather currently has plenty of structure to it. Look at the texturing. It's holding on to itself. That tip out here is kind of thin in parts, and it's jiggling, but it's not drooping or anything like that. So in a sense, this could maybe use some more water. Put some of this excess on my face, rub it around, and maybe clean off some of the oils. Get a feel for the slickness. Let's go a little bit more. That is 3.5 teaspoons of water. I might have to go back and forth with this scent and Tabac and see how closely it resembles Tabac. Well, this handle is fairly short, relatively speaking, and so as you can see, you will get your hands messy when you work up a bowl lather with it. We're starting to see a little bit of a change in the kind of consistency there. I'm glad I added that. Let's just try this, and if I need to add some water, I will. Yeah, nice and creamy, luxurious. Yeah, I think I do need to add some more water, because this feels terrific. So I think I want it to be just a little bit more, a little bit thinner, slicker. I don't want to get it on my face and have to. Yeah, it's 4 teaspoons. I want to get it on my face and have to spend the rest of the day. Spend a long time adding more water to the brush. Getting frustrated as the lather flies off. 5 teaspoons of water now in the soap. And it looks like the quarter teaspoon is generating a plenty of lather, so that's encouraging. He hasn't moved to a croap formula that is kind of stingy, you know, like Holy Cow or Chiseled Face, silk tallow. Like I said, those guys you have to use on average more soap per shave. All right, let's see how he behaves. Ah, now that's very different than before. Look at that. That's terrific. That's terrific. I have a lot more elasticity here. If this is a really nice soap, I'm going to be having to add more water when it's on my face. We'll just have to see. All right, let's tilt you back up. And I'm going to throw a little bit more water on my face before we start working the lather on. All right, here we go. So we're evaluating the lather and the brush. First use here, the brush feels terrific. Doesn't feel nearly, I'm not getting that backbone feel. It's not shoving my skin around as I reverse directions. I mean, it is a tiny bit, but it gives way. Easy display. And the lather, you can see how it's gathering up around the corners. Probably use some more water. Yeah, because we are leaking, causing chunks to fly off. And I can take a little bit of water and put it in the brush. I think a lot of it just went right through the brush. Another reason why I tilt my head over like this. Well, that's really the only reason I tilt my head over like that. The tips of the brush are not crazy soft like a like maybe a nice plush silver tip, but they are pretty soft. And that might be something that changes over time. I believe it does as the knot ages. So this one might be one that I keep around. Got a good deal on it used. Somebody bought it, and I guess it just wasn't for them. Yeah, a good sign for me that I need to add water to the soap is when I pull something like that gathers around my goatee and then looks that way when I pull it off. But I'm not gonna put any more water on it. We'll just kind of go with this. As I rinse my face and my face gets more kind of waterlogged, it will add more water to the second and third pass, and I wouldn't be surprised if they felt a little slicker. I wonder if they never turned the Latigo into a soap when it was a classic, the pucks, because it was Tabac, you know. I wonder about that. Tons of soap here, tons of lather. So that's good. Now, big question. How is this 78 gap going to work? Not really feeling any tugging. Seems to be moving through the hair nicely. Not kind of smooth as butter, but it's doing it well and without any tugging. And sometimes when you have 2 days of growth, right, even on some of your favorite razors, you might get some some tugging. So this seems to be working very well. I'm encouraged. I could imagine it being more aggressive. Now we'll see how that aggression treats me by the end of the shave. All right, wow, that went well. I feel like the lather does have a very nice feel to it in terms of creaminess, slickness. Really quite nice. And now that I've spread that around, I can go back over these areas again if I felt like it. And I'm going to pause you while I rinse. All right. Let's load up the brush for pass 2. Yeah, I kind of feel bad because I've got a puck of Tabac, and this kind of feels like the same thing, and so I kind of feel like I wasted my croap purchase. I wasn't planning on buying all of the different scents that he offers in the new soap, since I have the classic pucks and they perform so well. But I kind of feel like every time I use this, I'm wasting an opportunity to use Tabac. I'm very happy with the performance of this. I don't know that it beats the classic pucks, Fine's classic pucks, you know. I don't know that it beats Tabac. But it's very nice. So this is the second pass. I'm starting to feel like I may be generating a little bit of irritation with this guy. Starting to kind of feel a little wary. And rinse. Maybe I'm done. Maybe it's so aggressive that I have achieved a nice close shave. So during the break after our rinse, I'll check my cutout. Yeah, I really got a pretty close cut there. My cheeks are pretty much as good as they need to be. Let me do a little touch up, and I'm going to tread gently because this area here is my trouble spot. It's where I have the most turns and twists. Everything else is pretty straightforward. And therefore it's also the place where I need to work more, but also the place where I can develop more irritation because of all the weirdness. That's encouraging. Coming up this direction right here is usually the one that lets me get a nice close cut in that trouble spot area. Maintaining a very light touch. I felt a little tenderness there after the second pass. I think maybe I aggravated it just a little bit more, but I think it's not the level that would cause me to maybe change anything in the future. If I needed to use this as a daily driver, there's some potential there for being able to do that. It might not be that aggressive to me. We'll see. Yeah, that's a very nice cut. I don't know that I got too many more hairs. I think I did. I think it's a noticeable amount now that I think about it. There's probably a few that I missed, but it's starting to feel a little tender that I don't really want to try anymore. That's usually a sign that I'll pass on a certain razor. Um, but I might try some more blades out in this guy. I might definitely try this head out with the rest of the bronze parts that I have on hand instead of this configuration. Could be different, maybe. The weight and the distribution of the weight as I'm working here feels great. This titanium handle is going to be probably lighter than the bronze handle, so that could affect things a little bit, but it does feel very good. I could see a person really enjoying this setup if they like an aggressive razor. This razor could also hold a lot of good use for me if I play around with other blades. Maybe once a blade reaches 40 or 50 or 60 or 80 or 100 uses, then an aggressive razor like this could it could be very enjoyable to use. So that could be another reason to at least keep around the base plate to swap it out with my other bronze. And I just have to, think about the other parts if I wanted to keep those around as well. I found a good use for that titanium handle. Pretty cool. Let us put on the balm I have for today, Executive Man from Stirling. Wanted to use it up because it's one I've had around for a while. I don't want it to go bad. It smells nice. I think I squeezed out a little bit too much, so I may have an extra white face today. I think Stirling's balms do pretty well. Some people who have really dry skin have told me that Stirling balms, they don't quite help as much. You really need to, if you do have really dry skin when you shave, then you may want to bring in something a little heftier, a little more nourishing. Executive Man is nice. And yes, I'm happy to see that this soap, I did not have to use the full 1/4 teaspoon because I have another 3 or 4 passes right here. And so I could definitely use less, and that's good. At least it's not a wasteful soap, relatively speaking. Not really wasteful, but, compared to other soaps. So I'm happy to report that. But it's basically Tabac with this particular scent. So what would I do? Would I maybe trade it for one of the other scents that like American Blend? I'm a huge fan. Fresh Vetiver, Santal Absolute. A couple of those they aren't making in this soap base, so that's not an option. I'd have to look and see. Anyway, that's something for me to think about. But very favorable review and experience with the Thader brush here. You can tell it's new because look, we've got a bristle here that is come out. Newish. It didn't look like it had been used too many times by the previous owner. And I do like the easy splay. It's not one of those that's a super high density. I'm able to get in there and kind of squeeze the knot, and you can tell it's just not like that Declaration Grooming type of 2-band Badger. And so what I hope that happens is these tips that have a little bit of firmness. Maybe, who knows what, 100 uses, 200 uses? I mean, it's fairly enjoyable right now, but maybe it would soften up to massively enjoyable with a bunch of uses. But the backbone is pretty much perfect. It splays. It could be a little looser for me, but it splays easily, and so I think I like it. I did find a good deal with this one, and so I'll probably keep it around. However, for me, paying full price for this, I believe this one was $200 at Maggard's. No, I wouldn't do that. I would do it if I got a deal like I did, but not at retail. To me, I value the softness a little bit more, and I don't want to spend that much money and have it not be as soft as I want. I'd rather have a Macedo 2-band. I have a 24 millimeter Macedo 2-band that I enjoy probably better than this, as well as some of the silver tips. and probably some other two bands out there that are just escaping me at the moment. And so that's why you get good deals, because then you can, something's offered at something that's an acceptable level for you. The handle on this one is fairly short. It's got some girth. It's reasonably thick. However, it's fairly short, and I did find myself several times having to try to readjust as the shortness of it caused it to be quite sudsy, as you saw. I had to try re-gripping it to try to find the best grip for it being so slippery. And sometimes that's something that your body does adjust to, and then you don't notice it anymore after you use it several times. So we'll not count that as a ding quite yet, but I probably would enjoy it if the handle were a little bit longer. With that said, I do enjoy the look of this handle. It's a quality made piece. It's got the emblem on the medallion on the bottom there. So there we go. Got a little bit of backbone when you do that to it, and it's got a lot of bristles, a lot of tips. So we'll just see if maybe those tips soften up a little bit over time. I'm glad they're not jelly. I'm glad they haven't been treated so to the extent that they have become crispy and jelly. That would be too much on the soft range. So we'll just see what happens. Very nice. Good try, good use for that. 5.5 teaspoons of water this shave, and a little bit more than a quarter teaspoon of soap was used. So I could definitely reduce that and not have to quite add so much water if I needed to get a little bit more economical with it. Is titanium really essential for making razors? Do we need that strength? My answer is no. But what we need from the titanium, what a person could gain an advantage about it, is when you compare a titanium version to a stainless steel version, the titanium's going to weigh less. And so you may get the look and the weight all together in a wonderful balance if you have a titanium version of a razor. With the stainless steel version, it could be a little too heavy for you, and you get the titanium version, and of course it's going to be more expensive, but then it's just the right weight, and it's more of a delight to use. And when I think about that, I could spend, if I figured out the perfect one, I could spend that much money to get the titanium version if I knew that that was going to be a lifetime razor for me, because it's something you get to use every day and very often. And so I think it would pay for itself when you calculate it out over time. So yeah, maybe we don't need the strength of titanium, but the lightness of titanium with some razors could turn a razor we feel is a little unwieldy into one that we enjoy using a lot. So the aggression was maybe a little bit more than I wanted, but not more than I expected, because the 38 gap solid bar is such an enjoyable razor for me, and it does sit near the middle of the road like I explained. And so a gap that's quite larger, I kind of expected it to be perhaps in an area where I didn't like it as much. But like I said, we'll keep it around, try it in other scenarios, maybe with other blades, and just see how it comes. Very happy with the soap scent of Latigo. Like I said, it's basically Tabac. I'm happy with the performance. The slickness was very enjoyable. The razor moved fast on my face. I felt like I had good protection. The creaminess was very luxurious. It did rinse easily during that part of the process. My face felt smooth and very nice during the rinsing process. With such efficiency, I could see perhaps just sticking with the 2-pass if you wanted to. 2-pass with a touch-up, which is kind of what I did. This scent is going nicely with the Executive Man Balm. That's pretty cool. Now here's a big question. Fine has priced these soaps a lot higher than most. Barrister and Man is several dollars less. You do get 5 ounces. That should be considered as you think about that. You can't compare this price with a 4-ounce soap. So that's interesting. I'll have to weigh that out a little bit, do the math. But would I, assuming everything's equal, would I want to pay this much for this soap when I could pay a few dollars less and get Barrister and Man? Probably not. It probably doesn't. It doesn't surpass the Barrister and Man soap experience. And to be honest, I like Stirling as well, and it's half the price of this, pretty much. And you get more. You get 0.8 ounces more. This is 5 ounces. So in a situation where you're looking at the platinum in this brand, that's going to be equivalent to the Executive Man scent from Stirling. I definitely would rather have a tub of Stirling Executive Man, because if this is a little bit better than Stirling, it may be. It's not by much, and it's definitely not almost twice as better. So Stirling is the way to go if the scent is the same. That's an interesting question. I'll have to do the math and figure out to be able to compare it with the 4-ounce soaps. But I got a feeling in most situations I would rather go with the other soaps. The only reason I might come and buy this is because I was a big fan of a scent that was offered in this soap base, in the new 21st century soap base, that was not available anywhere else. Then why not pay a few extra bucks? Because after all, this may last you several months. It'll probably last me several months, maybe even a year. And so what's a few extra bucks in that situation? I hadn't thought about that until the very end. So it would seem that with most of the products used today, the brush, the razor, and the soap, I had some reservations. I enjoyed them, but I had some reservations. With the brush, I wish and I hope that the tips soften up just a little bit. With the razor, I hope that I'm able to find a different blade combination, or by switching to the full brass lineup with that open comb head, that I'm able to get a slightly less aggressive experience. With the soap, it's a little bit on the overpriced side, and I find that it's a little too close to Tabac in the scent department to really make me feel good about it. However, I am planning to use Tabac to compare. I may discover some interesting differences, and maybe I like this one better, so we'll see. All right, so there we go. That's the shave. Really fun to play around with this new stuff, and I hope that you guys got something out of it. I know some of you guys are fans of fine accoutrements, like I am, and so it was nice to try out the new croap. If he comes out with a new scent in the new croap, I would consider it. Again, the price is the only reservation there, but I would think about it because it did perform quite well. Very happy with the performance. All right, guys, take care. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. Good night.